let's get started here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Now we are today in the third surah, Surah Al-Imran. Al-Imran. That's where we're at today. Now so far, I've given you how many surahs?
2.
No, I gave you more than 2 surahs.
3.
I gave you 4 surahs. I said I'm going to try to give you, I'm going to give you, inshallah, 30 surahs at the least. Okay? That's a lot of surahs. Okay, but so far I've given you 4. Look, I gave you Al-Fatiha, right? That's 1. And what Fatiha, what did I give you?
Nas.
I gave you Nas. You should be able to understand this. In Fatiha, the theme was guidance, right? Not guidance. How to ask for guidance. How to ask for guidance. And the reason why I'm doing it like this, because we have a problem. You know what our problem is? We live in the microwave era. Anybody here 50 and older remembers that if you wanted to eat meat back in the days, when you left for morning to leave the house, what did you do? You took the meat out and put it in the sink, right? And you let that meat thaw out all day. Or you put it in a pot with some water. Now people don't do that. They go home and say, I wonder what I'm going to cook. They just got home. You know, because of the microwave or because of the other thing, they can warm it up real quickly and everything like that. One of the bad things about this new era of time is that people are impatient. So they want to do more but get less out of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, that is difficult with the Qur'an, because especially during Ramadan. Because Ramadan, we are in not just a marathon, 30 days, but it's intense. It's intense because by the time you finish breaking your fast, it's time to pray Taraweeh. And by the time you finish praying Taraweeh, what you ate for the fast is gone, right? You're tired. And you're tired, too tired to eat. You go home and you sleep and you got to get up early because you got to make a small suhoor and then start your day and fast and read, okay? And keep your job. Do your things. So there's less energy, more work. And that's the nature of Ramadan. My job here is to go through the Qur'an and to go through it in a way that makes it meaningful for you. In a way, hopefully, that has never been before. Now, what people want with that is to get through the whole Qur'an, right? But you're not going to get through the whole Qur'an and get it in a way that's going to benefit you real fast if we do it in this 30 days like that, if we skip. Because there's key points that I have to make mention of. Okay? So, don't think I'm trying to hold back. I'm trying to give you more. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
All right. So Nas, we had this person, Al-Fatiha. We started off with this invisible, made-up person named Abdullah, who wants to get guidance. He believes in a higher being. He doesn't know what to call him. He's heard lots of things. And he believes that there's going to be some accountability. He doesn't know what all the realities are, but he has some types of belief. Allah blesses him to read Al-Fatiha, and it teaches him how to ask for guidance. Right, everyone has to get a mushaf, please. We're going to go through a surah. I want everybody to have a mushaf. So, here it is. He learns now how to ask. Ihdina. He's asking for us, all of us, hoping that he'll get in that too when he gives it to some of us, right? Alhamdulillah. Then, at the same time, we looked and we got Surah Nas, went all the way to the end of the Qur'an. Why? Because I wanted to make a point. And the point was what? Does anybody remember?
When you mentioned Rabb al-Alameen also is mentioned.
The point is that there's one voice in the Qur'an. There's one speaker. Who's that speaker?
Allah.
And since it's the speech of Allah, and Allah has an objective That objective is clear from the beginning of the Quran to the end. And so I showed that from the very first surah, we learned from the very first surah to the last surah, the objective is clearly one. Allah says, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, right? Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Tawheed. Allah, Uluhiyya, Rabb, Rububiyyah, and the names of Allah, Malik. And we go to the last surah of the Quran. A'udhu bi Rabbi nas, Maliki nas, Ilahi nas. The same theme. All the Tawheed has come from beginning to end. The only difference is in one, he started with the name of Allah, and in the last one, he ended with the name of Allah. And we mentioned also that these are names of Allah. Rabbil Alameen is a name of Allah. Ilahi Nas is a name of Allah. Rabbin Nas is a name of Allah. Malikin Nas is a name from amongst the names and descriptions of Allah. No, it's not on that list of 99 names. But guess what? The Prophet didn't make that list of 99 names. Okay? That list that you see in the hadith, Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, Al-Malik, Al-Quddus, Al-Salam, that we had to memorize back in the 80s. Somebody made that up, and it wasn't the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And some of our ulama say that some of those names is not even nowhere found in the Sunnah. But someone put it there. But since it was one of the first attempts at naming Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's become the most known one. But when we go through the Quran, we notice that we didn't make part of that 99, those names that are compound names. Like Arhamur Rahimin, Dhur Rahmah. Okay? These types of names are not mentioned, but they are names of Allah. And for us, we need to step back and refocus that and recognize, realize these are names and descriptions of Allah. And the wisdom for switching the order, starting with the name of Allah and ending with the name of Allah, is pretty obvious. The first name we get is Alhamdulillah. The last name we get is Ilahi Nas. Capiche? Does that make sense? And Allah leaves us with that. Also, the message is one. We went through Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Nas, then we went to Al-Baqarah. And in Baqarah, what did we learn? Initially, Allah, He talks about what? The hearts. Belief in the book, that is from Allah. That's the first thing we're called to, right? To believe, have no doubt that this book is from Allah. That's all we have to believe in, because Allah is establishing in Baqarah the route to guidance. That's what we're getting there. We're going the route to guidance until we completely get all of the Sharia. And really, it is an explanation of what is Sirat al-Mustaqim. Okay? This is what Baqarah, the route to guidance. So the route to guidance is, first and foremost, you have to, after believing in Allah. Remember in this one, he believed in Fatiha, he believed in Allah, some God. Didn't know the definition of what to know about it, but in Baqarah it clarifies that the first thing he has to do is believe that this book is from Allah. And he had a question in Fatiha. How do I know I got the truth? It's clarified in Al-Baqarah. And then the angels are clarified in Baqarah. And all the 6 points of Iman are covered in Surah Al-Baqarah before we get the rules of the Sharia. And then in the sequence, then we get all the rules of the Sharia. Okay? You notice the rules of the Sharia don't come in the first part of Baqarah. They only come after it's been established, the story of Adam. Because he is our originator, right? Not originator, the original man. And then after that, the story of Ibrahim. Why? Because he is the father of our millah, our religion, not our deen. Millat Ibrahim, that's our religion. Our deen is Islam, our religion is Hunafa, Hanifan, the religion of Ibrahim. وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. And so his story is given. And we keep going in this route to establish the realities of deen. And then Allah gives us the deen. The deen. All the laws of the Sharia. Marriage and all these things. And then I said yesterday that at the end of it, we get the laws of business. The laws of borrowing. And why? Because Allah told us from the very beginning, He's provided for us. For the last thing we got to worry about is our business. So even in the layout of the Quran, the business laws are put last. Okay? In Surah Al-Baqarah. And we can look and see that. So the sequence is very important. And then we learn some dua. We learn the dua to ask so that we don't have to be like those people who preceded us. When they made a mistake and they got in trouble, what happened? They had to kill themselves. وَقُتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ عِنْدَ بَارِئِكُمْ فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ. He says, kill yourselves. That's what you want to make tawbah? That's better for you in your according to your Creator. And then He'll accept your tawbah. So we pray, Allah, don't give us لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. We learn that dua. Rabbana, don't hold us to account like you held them other people to account. Don't make us have an isra. Don't make us carry the burden of doing the same things they had to do to make tawbah. What do we have to do to make tawbah? 2 raka'ah. 2 raka'ah. Isn't that such mercy? And before the surah ends, it ends, if you go to page 49 in Surah Al-Baqarah, it says, آمَنَ الرَّسُولُ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ رَبِّهِ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. He says, the messenger believes in what has been sent down to him. Now the end is being tied to the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, right? Because in the Surah Al-Baqarah it says, مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ, right? وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمُ يُوقِنُونَ. Everybody follow me? So here he says, now it goes back and says we come back to the ending and go back to the beginning. And it covers it again. All 6 points of Iman are covered in this last ayat. And he says, the messenger believes what has been sent down to him, and so do the believers. And now we're included in that. Because why? We have the guidance. The guidance has been gotten in Surah Al-Baqarah. All of it. All of it. And the tone of the Quran is going to change from this moment on. He says, kullun, all of them, all of the believers. And now there are believers and there are disbelievers. Okay? Prior to this, he said, Ya ayyuhan nas. He's telling, oh people, this. He taught us all the issues of rububiyyah in that first ayah. Ya ayyuhan nas u'budu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum walladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Alladhi khalaqakum walladhina min qablikum, right? والذي خلقكم وأنزل من السماء وجعل لكم الأرض فراشا وأنزل من السماء ماء أنباتا, right? رزقا لكم فلا تجعلوا لله أندادا وأنتم تعلمون. Right? So at that point he gives us everything. He created us. He made a place for us to live in, right? Gave us a canopy to provide the environment for us. So he is mudabbir. First one, he's khaliq. The second, he's mudabbir, managing our affairs. Okay? Then he provided for us. Rizqan lakum. Made it drop out of the sky. Made it just rain drop out of the sky and it doesn't kill us. We know things fall from high from the sky, they can kill you. They say in New York, they can always throwing stuff out the windows, skyscrapers. It can kill somebody. A penny will go right through a person's head if you throw it off a building. Our parents used to tell us that in New York, said stop throwing stuff out the window. So now here this rain comes down, but it doesn't kill us. I was always amazed about that. And not only that, it breaks the earth though. It doesn't hurt us, but it cracks the earth and goes into the hard ground of earth and makes water, and things come up, what do you call it, nabat, what do you call it, fruits and plants come up that we can eat. And then he tells us another order, codifying our lives. فَلَا تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا. Don't make for Allah any competition, and you know better. Okay? And then at that point we have the threshold moment. If you still have rayb about this book being from Allah, now you have to make a choice. Because if you don't, the consequences is you won't be able to understand the stories. Allah says that I'm making the stories. I'm telling you stories of a gnat and everything bigger than that. If you don't believe that this is from Allah, then you're going to say, you're going to be wondering, what does Allah mean by this? You're going to be confused. The stories are not going to benefit you. And if you do believe that it's from Allah, then it's going to confirm. Those are going to be confirmed, and they're going to say it's the haqq from their Lord. Okay? And it's going to confirm what is right. More the Quran confirms than it negates. There's very little difference between us and the previous revelations. So it's called musaddiqan lima ma'akum. It is confirming what we already know and have with ourselves. And this is the message as it goes on all the way through the Qur'an of Surah Al-Baqarah. Each one of those stories has a reason in confirming our iman. Someone asked me, well, what about the story of Nimrod with Ibrahim? This is a story where Allah is teaching us, again, about the qadr of Allah. He said, He yuhyi wa yumit, right? Who He decides who lives and who dies. Oh, well, this is the qadr. And فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ, and he was made to shut up. When you shut someone up, their intellect is stunned. They ain't got nothing to say. Because they've been so convinced, they can't even pretend like they have something to say about it. And that's what it means. فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ. He told them, look, well, if you do that, he didn't fight him on that. He said, well, make the sun come up in the east. I mean, in the west, since you God. You control things. So that's what that story is for. And the one that comes afterward with Uzair and these things, it's all about, again, Allah gives life after death, the Yawm al-Qiyamah. Okay, so this is all establishing the points of Iman. Once we finish Surah Al-Baqarah, we went to show you that just like Surah Al-Fatiha is tied to Surah Al-Nas, because Surah Al-Baqarah starts telling us about the hearts, right? It said there's 3 types of hearts. The heart that has taqwa, the heart that Allah sealed, and that's the open kafir, who at least has the dignity to say he's a kafir. And then we have the undignified person who has a disease in his heart, right? And this is the one who is a munafiq, a hypocrite. So Allah is showing us that He's dealing with the heart. Our battleground is where? The heart. The heart. And the proof of it is in Surah Al-Nas. The last thing Allah tells us. The last thing is how shaitan attacks us. Fi suduri nas. In the same place. In the hearts. Yuwaswisu. He is al-waswas. He is also al-khannas, the pig-nosed one who smells. What does he smell? Forgetfulness. Forgetfulness. As soon as we forget about Allah, He can smell that. His nose and senses are not like ours. We smell food, we smell good things and bad things. He smells the dhikr Allah and the absence of the dhikr Allah. And so as soon as we stop becoming ghafil and unmindful of Allah, He smells that and then He whispers. He whispers. Why? Because it's light. Because the first thing that He noticed about man from the hadith is when He saw the body of Adam, what did He say about him? He's hollow. He noted it. He said it out loud. This thing is hollow. What does that mean? He's going to be emotional. I can take advantage of this thing. I can trick him. And so He tricks the man by whispering so light in that hollow point that it resounds. It echoes within his hollow chest. And he thinks what? That he came up with. I must be talking to myself. I must have said that. And to further that, he speaks in the first person. So he's pretending to be us. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us when He says He is al-waswas, al-khannas. What is al-khannas? Alladhi yuwaswisu fi suduri nas. So it clarifies that as the last message to us. This is how this one is going to attack you. Be on guard from him. And He gives us the solution. What's the solution? Recite that surah. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. Seek refuge in Allah from what? Seek refuge in Allah through each form of tawheed. Because He said, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas. And each form of tawheed from this shaitan. And also understand, if you ever come with an evil thought, that is against human nature. Every evil human thought that you come up with, who came up with that? Shaitan. So you don't have to worry about it. As soon as you hear or think an evil thought, no, it's just from shaitan, and say, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharr al-waswas, al-khannas, alladhi yuwaswisu fi suduri nas, min al-jinnati wan nas. Or just say, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. You guys get my point? So we got Surah Al-Nas. How shaitan attacks. And just think about, that's the last thing Allah's telling us in the Quran, right? Think about that. Just so you know, as you go, I'm letting you know how this thing is going to attack you. So then we come through Baqarah, we finish Baqarah, and we went to Baqarah, and then we said Al-Baqarah is connected, just like Fatiha is connected to Nas, Baqarah is connected to what surah? Falaq. Don't we see that in Surah Al-Baqarah, what are some of the stories about? Musa with the hard-headed, rebellious, jealous, hasad, hating Jews, right? Bani Israel. And what do we see they doing all the time? What is Musa fighting them with? With Fir'aun? Magic, right? The voodoo. And all their witchcraft. And he comes with it when they come with that. So, magic and sihr, and then what do we see in Surah Al-Falaq? In fact, when someone is Majnoon, what do? We recite Surah Al-Baqarah over them. Right? And Allah's Messenger said that Surah Al-Baqarah is such a way, it yubtilu sahara. It breaks all magic. Surah Al-Baqarah. I had a friend, a buddy in the Marine Corps. His children were wetting the bed. We were out of the Corps. He said, man, my children keep wetting the bed. You got any ideas? Because I was a teacher. I said, hey, play this tape. Go down to, I wasn't in the States. And I said, go to State Street in Brooklyn and get this tape of Surah Al-Baqarah. Just tell them you want Ayat al-Kursi. I was trying to give him Ayat al-Kursi. But he went to State Street and the brothers saw him and they knew he was non-Muslim. They gave him the whole surah. Okay? They said, hey man, you need all of this. Play that. He played it at night. Okay? He played it at night and said, man, my children slept so well. Their house was so calm. Nobody wet the bed. And because he's living in Harlem and it was this creepy old apartment building, probably got jinns all over the place. He said he was hearing stuff. That's why I was telling him to play Surah Ayat al-Kursi. He said, man, this is great. Eventually, within a couple of years, he accepted Islam. He lives in Turkey now. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. But just on that, just from Surah Al-Baqarah, and his seeing how it affected his children, made him interested more and more in the deen. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Yubtilu sahara. And then we look at Surah Al-Falaq. What does it say? Recite it. Qul a'udhu birabbil falaq. Falaq is the morning. From the crack of dawn, we're seeking refuge from evil in general. Right? Min sharri ma khalaq. Showing the qadr of Allah, that He is the one that allowed these things for wisdom baligha, for wisdom that He knows that He allowed this evil to come. Why? Because Allah told us, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَالنَّقْصِ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. In Surah Al-Baqarah, from the guidance He told us, He said, I make no doubt about it. He mentioned it in triple affirmatives. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. Without no doubt, I am the one that's testing you. Why? So people can start. See, again, the qadr of Allah is very important. This is one of the things that most Westerners, we don't get it. The qadr of Allah is Allah's permission, meaning authority to rule. Think about it that way. He has the right to determine what to do with His creation, when He wants to do it, and how much, and when, and all of that. And for us to submit to that is primary. Just like ain't nobody going to tell you what to do in your home. Right? You don't want to accept that. Or with your stuff. Right or wrong? Because it's yours. Allah has a right to do what He wills with His creation. And He says, so if you got a problem, any problem in your life, and you say, well, why is this happening to me? Because Allah said, no, without no doubt, I'm testing you. I'm doing it to you. And every week we read Surah Al-Kahf. And He says that what? Allah's making the whole work zinatun lahum. لِنَبَلُوَهُمُ أَيُّهُمُ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. He says, I'm made this whole stuff look real nice for y'all. Remember, every week you're reminded. Make it look real nice in order to test you to see which one of y'all going to do the best of deeds. Not the most of deeds, the best of deeds. وَإِنَّ لَجَاعِلُونَ مَا عَلَيْهَا صَعِيدًا جُرُوزًا. And then we're going to turn all that nice stuff into sand. It ain't worth nothing. It's just a test. Don't be amazed with it. Which is from the story that we're going to deal today with Surah Al-Imran, Al-Imran, inshallah. So, he says, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَاقِ. From the crack of dawn, seek refuge in Allah. From the evil, the general evil that's out there. مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ. وَمِنْ شَرِّ. And then even at the crack of the evening. غَاسِقًا إِذَا وَقَبَ. This is the spooky, this is the creepiness of the sunset. Okay? Why? Remember that song? The freaks come out at night. Right? That's how the guy did it. For you guys and young guys don't know, there was a song that came out. It said, the freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night. And then he starts making this creepy sound. But it's true. Sadaqa Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said the freaks come out at night. At the crack when it's right at Maghrib time. Okay? Now, at that time, the shaitan, the shaytun as we say in Arabic, they come out. And they spread all over the world trying to get in somebody's house. Trying to find a place to stay that night. Some place where they could cause fitna. And you walk in your house without saying Bismillah, I got me a spot. We all talk about we don't want nobody to drink nobody's backwash. You drink without saying Bismillah, you drink in the backwash of shaitan. He's slobbering and drinking with it. Eating and drooling all over the food too. You walk in the house, you don't know what is going on. It looks like you walked in a crazy house. Say Bismillah, go back out and leave. Say Bismillah, and come back in. Pray 2 raka'ah. House will change. So here, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. So from the crack of dawn to the end of the day, we're seeking refuge from the general evil of shaitan. Then what does it say? Recite it to me. Loud, don't whisper at me, I'm not marrying you. Speak up loud, man. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي. So this is a descriptive way of saying the witchcraft, the voodoo, the magic. Same thing that happens in Baqarah, right? Didn't we say when someone who's Majnun, we recite on them Surah Al-Baqarah, right? Surah Al-Falaq is dealing with the same subject, that magic and that what do you call it, voodoo. Okay? And then what else does it say? Recite more. وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ. What about the hasad that we found from Bani Israel? So the two main things, ma'ruf for Bani Israel in Surah Al-Baqarah, we find again at the end of the Qur'an in Surah Al-Falaq. So it's called Raddul Ajz bis-Sadr. Taking the end and connecting it with the beginning. Showing that the speaker is one, the objective is one, the whole tone from beginning to end is connected. There's no schizophrenia. There's no schizophrenia in the Quran. Okay? It's hard to jump from Arabic to English because the rhythms are different. So anyway, here we have in Surah Al-Falaq, we have the magic, what do you call it? I'm going to call it witchcraft.
Sorcery.
Craft.
Witchcraft.
And voodoo, because that's the word I grew up with hearing a lot of. We didn't call it witchcraft, we call it voodoo, santeria, these types of things. If you said magic, they think about the little rat, what's this guy called? Mickey Mouse, and then that, because they made it fair seeming, that doesn't look bad. But I remember my children, when they first came here to America, they was like, what? They got a little rat, And so it's obvious to people who are not been indoctrinated in that. But just think, you're buying a rat to give to your child. That don't make no sense. Oh, he's okay. Just like they do with Casper, the friendly ghost, right? To make it fair seeming. No, it's just a nice jinn. Oh, you keep him. Voodoo and what we call the ayn, the evil eye. Evil eye and just hasad, just basic hasad is covered. And this is the cure for this. This is the cure. The dua is how to ask Allah to protect you from that. So we have so far 4 surahs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody follow me so far?
Yes.
So today we're going to start with Surah Al-Imran. And Al-Imran is directly connected to Baqarah. Directly. And we're not going to get through it because of the time, that we don't have enough time. But I want to start first and foremost and give you the beginning part of it. So open up your book to page 50, inshallah ta'ala, and we can go through it. One of the things I want you to understand about Al-Imran, number 1, is that this surah picks up the message of Baqarah and explains it, expounds upon it more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just like Baqarah was about Musa and Bani Israel, this surah is about Isa and the Nasrani, okay, and the Christians. And it is directly connected. We go to this 5th one, we're going to say Al-Imran. to Surah Al-Ikhlas. Okay? Just like these others was connected, now Al-Imran is connected to Surah Al-Ikhlas. The one ayah, look, the surah starts Alif Lam Mim. Again, the letters come, we don't know what they mean, but what does it do? It gains our attention. And it reminds us, hey, didn't we just cover this in Baqarah? Don't unclick your fingers. No. He says Alif Lam Mim, so now we're paying attention. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. This sets the tone. Allah la ilaha illa hu al-hayyul qayyum. This line is repeated the most in this surah than any other surah in the Qur'an. It comes 5 times in this surah. And it says what? There is nothing worthy of worship except what? Allah. And he gives you sifat. Al-Hayyul Qayyum. Azizul Hakim. You get it? He mentions there's so much tawheed in this surah. And then we go back to Surah Al-Ikhlas, and how does that start? Qul huwallahu ahad. Does that make sense? The message in this surah, there are lots of messages, but the theme in this surah is, now that you have guidance, the next thing you have to do is be firm on that guidance. At-tathabbut. You have to have firm in this particular, on this guidance of God, if you believe it, right? Don't get tricked by what you see the kuffar having, or what you don't see of the recompense of your efforts. Allah mentions this is in this whole surah. Be firm. Firm through what? Tawheed. Through what? Islam. It's Islam lillahi. Right? Bit tawheed. To surrender. That's what Islam means. People say Islam means peace. Islam does not mean peace. Stop saying that. If you don't know English or Arabic, just shut up. You don't have to say anything. Islam implies that you will find peace through Islam. Now what is Islam? To surrender. To give up. Just like if I pull out on you and say put your hands up. You put your hands up. Right? You surrender. Turn around. You turn around. You do what you're told to do because you've surrendered. You've given up your choice. That's what Islam is. And through doing this, you will find peace. Doing anything else like Shaitan, he has an opposite da'wah. His da'wah is just do it. Do you, baby. Right? That's what he says. Do it. And if you do it, you're going to find peace. But he's a liar. Drink beer, you're going to feel good, right? Drink the alcohol. There's one guy in Texas, he sued the big beer companies. You know, I think it was Austin. I forget the state, the city, but it was in Texas, okay? Wherever the basketball team is at. The Texas guy, he sued them. He said, listen, these guys false advertisement. They said to drink the beer, it tastes good. It was nasty, okay? I threw up. I didn't feel good. I got a headache. Woke up the next day, I was dizzy. You get my point? I didn't get the girls. And when I saw the case, I said, man, they threw it out. They threw the case out. I said, no, this guy has a great argument. He's got a great argument because they're liars, right? But this is the da'wah of Shaitan. He's a great marketer. Go out there, make zina. Go out there, steal. Go to the club with the little lights and the music. You're going to feel good because that's what they want. They want to get high. Even we do. We want to get high. But we understand how to get high. High is the ibadah, the feeling you get when you're fasting, when you break your fast, when you're praying, when you read Qur'an. I think Ibn al-Qayyim said there's a peace in the heart, an opening, a space that can only be filled with the love and the ibadah for Allah. So that's what the crackhead is looking for. The same thing you're looking for. That feeling of fulfillment. Otherwise, it's empty. And that emptiness drives them to try to find a way to fill it and Shaitan you us wisu and say, try this, try that, try this. And that's what they're trying to do. Wearing themselves out. And we too have to realize the only way to get that fulfillment in the heart is through submitting to Allah. And that's Islam. And that's what this surah is about, talking about. Being firm on Islam. The word Islam is mentioned in this surah more than any other surah in the Qur'an. Inna deena inda Allahi Islam. In this surah, mentioned over and over. And if you try anything else, it'll never be accepted except for Islam. So we have this word, La ilaha illallah. And then we have the stories of Isa, right? Isn't that what happens in Ikhlas? What happens in Ikhlas? It says, Qul huwallahu ahad. Allahu samad. What is a samad? All throughout this surah, we have descriptions of Allah. It has descriptions of Allah being Azizun Buntiqam, mighty and easily able to take revenge. He is in charge, he has authority and power. Okay? This is Allah. And he's described in he has the mulk in his hands. He gives it to who he wants and takes it away who he wants. Allah is described throughout this whole surah. As-Samad is as-Sayyid. He's the one that everyone goes to eventually for their needs. And that's what who Allah is, As-Samad. And if you say, well, what does that mean? What is As-Samad? Then the rest of the surah is as if he says, Alladhi, the one who lam yalid wa lam yulad. Put it together that way. He is As-Samad. What is As-Samad? Alladhi lam yalid wa lam yulad. Wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. And there's nothing and no one that can do what he does and satisfy the needs of be kufuwan lah. And we say lam yalid wa lam yulad because the surah is playing with the people of Najran and all the Christians in general. Ya ahl al-kitab. What to say to them to kill the argument that Jesus alayhi salatu wasalam is a son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so these two surahs are connected in that way. Does everybody follow me? Now let's get through the surah. He begins, he says, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. So this is Allah. Al-Hayy is the ever-living. He lives and he always has lived. Al-Qayyum is the one that establishes life and everything for everybody else. So not does he just only give you life, but all the things you need to live. Like the earth, like the sky, like the eyes on the top of our head and feet on the bottom of our bodies, and everything that we need in breath and all these things. So he is the life-giving, ever-living one. Because there's a third meaning. Whenever you have two words, Al-Hayy, Al-Qayyum, there's a third meaning. Al-Hayyul Qayyum. One is describing as a description of the other. Then he says, Nazzal alayka al-kitaba bil-haq. He said he has sent down this book. Now it's going back to the last surah, Surah Al-Baqarah, when he says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ. Okay? He said he sent down his book bil-haq, with the truth. مُصَدِّقًا. It is confirming what you have. مَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ وَأَنزَلَ Tawrata wal-Injil. Why? Because in the first surah Al-Baqarah, it says that you believe in what was sent down to you and what was sent down before you, but it doesn't name it. So in this surah it clarifies, Atful Bayan, وَأَنزَلَ Tawrata wal-Injil. And that's why that's mentioned there, that the Torah and Injil are all the books that he sent down before. Does that make sense, everyone? Min qablu hudan linnas. These two books were before guidance for the people. وَأَنزَلَ الْفُرْقَانِ. The ulama have two statements. The Furqan is the Qur'an, and others say, and also they say, it is all the books as a Furqan, as something to distinguish what is right and wrong. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Now, we go in the surah of, if we follow Baqarah, you go back to Baqarah, it says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمُ أَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Right? It comes up and it gives that the same thing says here. Those who disbelieve, those rejected, it's the same if you give them da'wah, you don't give them da'wah, they will never believe, right? So Allah says here, Inna ladina kafaru, the same introduction, clarifying. Inna ladina kafaru bi ayatillah, in the ayat of Allah, lahum adhabun shadidun wallahu azizun duntiqam. They're going to have a painful punishment, okay? Allah is going to punish them. Okay, because they're never going to believe, okay? And he mentioned earlier in Surah Al-Baqarah what part of that thing, kashawatun and lahum adhabun azim. So now adhabun shadid, further clarification of the punishment they're going to get. And that Allah is how? Allah is Aziz. He has authority to do that. Okay? He has the power to do that. Aziz is like saying a governor. You see, the governor has full control to legislate in the state. He has his own army. You know, the state troopers and this type of thing, and the state police. and the National Guard to use at his own disposal. So Allah is saying he is Azizun Dhuntiqam, meaning he possesses the ability to take revenge on whoever he wants to put people in their place. So if you're wondering why and how they're going to get a punishment, Allah is capable of that. Qadirun ala dhalik. Then he goes on and says, Inna Allah la yakhfa alayhi shay'un fil ardi wa la fis sama'. So again, we go to the next part in Surah Al-Baqarah where it mentioned the hypocrites, right? He said, Fi qulubihim maradun. In their hearts is a sickness. How does Allah know? Allah tells us right here, Inna Allah la yakhfa alayhi shay'. Nothing is hidden from Allah. So he's answering those questions. If someone will say, well, how does Allah know that in their hearts is a sickness? And stuff like, Inna Allah la yakhfa alayhi shay'un fil ardi wa la fis sama'. How do you know? Because he said, He zadahumullahu marada. He increases their sickness, right? No. Allah shows us how. Huwa alladhi yusawwirukum fil arhami kayfa yasha. He's the one that shaped them. Yusawwiru, and made their hearts and allowed their hearts to get even sicker because he knows them. And nothing is hidden. So this surah, from the very beginning, is clarifying what's in Baqarah. Does that make sense, everybody? Am I talking too fast?
No.
Okay. I know I talk fast because I want to get it out before the time I get told to be quiet, okay? But I don't want to talk so fast that you don't follow me. Am I capiche? All right. So then Allah says, هو الذي يصوركم في الأرحام كيف يشاء لا إله إلا هو العزيز Hakim. Again, La ilaha illahu. Again, it's the second time it came. How many times did I tell you? 5. Okay? It's going to come 5 times in here. So he says, La ilaha illahu al-azizul hakim. So he is mighty and powerful and has authority, and he is hakim. He knows how to use that wisely. You get the point? So then he's not, because usually power corrupts, right? We see a lot of these dictators. They get in power and they do whatever they want. But Allah is Azizul Hakim, wise in the distribution of his authority and his power and his might. Not a corrupt individual. Unclick your fingers, young man. No. So he says, Huwa alladhi anzala. And now he's going to clarify in this part of the surah the types of Qur'an. The Qur'an is 2 types. In here you have muhkamatun. I want to put it in English. Muhkamatun, clear ayat. And other ones are mutashabihat. We're going to call it ambiguous. These are my terms, okay? So Allah describes the Quran in 2 ways. Why? Because in Surah Al-Baqarah, he mentions, and maybe people missed it, he started to tell you the people, they put their fingers in their ears, hadar al-maut, right? And he said to the people, they walk and then they stop and they start walking again, right? He's talking about the hypocrite. He's telling us something about the hypocrite. He spends a lot of time explaining the hypocrite. Why? Because he's not obvious to people. Okay? And he's saying that why the person sticks his fingers in his ear. Because when he hears some light, something that is truthful, he's afraid it's going to expose him. He's afraid that when you hear that, it's going to show that he's a hypocrite. Does that make sense? Yeah. So he don't want to hear that. And they become very animosity filled towards people of knowledge or people who want to bring out the truth. Okay? And that's why they're afraid. So he says here, there are 2 types of ayat. There are ayat that are clear. No one can have any question about them. Mubin, bayyinat. And others that are ambiguous. What does the hypocrite do? He runs to those ayat that are ambiguous and he tries to shape them and fit them into his own existing opinion. You get my point? He tries to fit them in there. Okay? Ibtigha al-fitna wa ibtigha at-tawil. Okay? He's hoping to get some fitna started, and he's also trying to interpret it in a way that fits his already existing idea. Okay? But what does the person who believes have? Again, Allah clears. Those people, رَاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ يَقُولُونَ آمَنَّا بِهِ كُلٌّ مِّنْ عِنْدِ رَبِّنَا. So he says the same thing he was told to say in the beginning of Baqarah. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحْيِي أَنْ يَضْرِبَ مَثَلًا مَا بَعُودَةً فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. Right? So he's going to say the one who believes, he knows that this is the truth from his Lord. So Allah explains how he knows and what he does. He says, آمَنَّا بِهِ. I believe in it. All of it is from Allah. That's all you have to do. He's told us now, if you find an ayah and you don't know exactly what it means, what you have to do is say, I believe in it. It's all from Allah. Allah knows best. Who are you and me to think that we have to know every single thing? Okay? So there's going to be a lot of things we don't know. We learn that all the time when we're studying. The thing about the reason why people of knowledge are called people of knowledge is they have knowledge of what they don't know. Before I left in the 90s, when I went to go over in Mauritania, I was giving khutbahs and, I was the imam before I left. Man, I'm glad they didn't have internet back in those days, or to tape those things. Who knows what was being said in that time, how little knowledge you have. You get my point? And then you come back and 20 years later, you say, man, alhamdulillah, the internet thing. Because you realize how much you don't know. There's so much to know. Okay? So much to know. Alhamdulillah, you're looking at me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us what we're supposed to do with those ambiguous ayat. And that is to say we believe in it. It's all from Allah. And not to do this thing and try to twist them up to fit in our pre-existing feeling. Now I say here, at this point Allah teaches us a dua. This dua is proving my point that all of the guidance that we needed was got in which surah? Come on, pay attention guys, I know I'm talking fast. Baqarah, okay. All the guidance. Now I'm going to prove it here. Allah teaches us a dua. He says, Rabbana لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ وهب لنا من لدنك إنك أنت. Now look what he says here. I told you the battlefield was where? The heart, the qalb, right? This is confirmed here. Allah says, ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا. Don't let our hearts deviate. He didn't say our minds deviate. He said our hearts. Okay? Don't let our hearts deviate. What did he tell us in Surah Al-Baqarah? في قلوبهم مرض ختم الله على قلوبهم. What did the messenger say? التقوى ها هنا وأشار إلى صدره ثلاثا استفتي قلبك. And he said, make a fatwa, seek a fatwa from your heart. He says that Shaitan, what he's doing? يوسوس في صدور الناس. It's the battleground. Even Shaitan is trying to get to our hearts. The intellect is the heart. When we have this conversation, we're trying to convince the heart. With our intellect, trying to say, hey man, everybody's doing it, just me. No man, we ain't supposed to do that. That's what the heart is, honest. And if the heart, you can't convince the heart, then the heart becomes depressed, and this is the cause of depression. This is the cause of depression. Because your heart says, look at the chunk that I'm in. I ain't with you no more. And we know anybody does something with no heart, it's lifeless. Right? It's lost its humanness to it. So the thing that gives life to the heart is the Qur'an. Istighfar, which is acknowledging that you're wrong. Acknowledging the right of Allah. That's what it's all about. And this is how we stay firm. So Allah says, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ. That's the point I wanted to make. بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا. There's three types of إِذ in the Arabic language. There's إِذْ, إِذَا, إِذَا. Okay, say إِذْ. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ. And when your Lord said to the angels, that's in the past. وَإِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ. إِذَا in the future. يَوْمَ إِذٍ. Then on that time. If in the past it's already done. Allah, we're asking Allah, Rabbana, hey you boys sit down. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana. Oh our Lord, don't let our hearts deviate after you've already hadaytana, guided us. When did he guide us? We're in the third surah. Where did he guide us then? In Baqarah. You guys get the point? All the guidance we had. Surah Al-Fatiha was how to ask for guidance. Surah Al-Baqarah was that this is the guidance, have no doubt about it. And then it laid it out. This is what other people said when they wanted guidance. You see how they acted? Bani Israel, right? Don't be like them, because I'm going to give it to you. And then he lays it out. Lays it out, all the guidance. Then he gives you Surah Al-Imran. It says, be firm on that guidance. This whole surah is about being firm on the guidance that he has already given us. And then the next dua, he says, رَبَّنَا إِنَّكَ جَامِعُ النَّاسِ لِيَوْمٍ. What did he say? لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Again, did he use this term before? Yes, in Surah Al-Baqarah. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Same thing again. There is no doubt whatsoever that the last day is coming. Why? It's pinnacle that we understand that there's a day of accounting. That we are going to be gathered together and we're going to be questioned about everything we did. Because if not, then, I do what I want to do. Ain't nobody going to call me in my check me, right? But Allah is making it clear. Innaka jami'un nas. You are trying to bring the people together. Liyawmin la raybu fi. Ain't no doubt about this day is coming. And so we're confirming another issue of Iman. And that is Iman in Yawm al-Qiyamah, Yawm al-Hashr, Yawm al-Jam'. This day when we're going to be gathered together and we're going to be questioned about everything we do. Inna Allah la yukhliful mi'ad. Allah does not break His promise. His word don't change. And so I'm going to stop here because I'm right on time at 8 o'clock where I was supposed to stop at 7:59. And tomorrow we'll go through the whole surah, insha'Allah ta'ala. Allah give us life and allow us to get here safe and sound. And we'll go through, that was just the introduction. Okay? So we can appreciate what we're going to do here. I'll tell you something else about this surah. We know in Surah Al-Baqarah, or we should know, that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he told us to recite the last part of Surah Al-Baqarah every night, right? Everybody familiar with that? Okay, and he said if you just recite that last part, لَكَفَتْكُمْ, that's enough for you. Which goes into another point about how much you're supposed to read. You're supposed to read Qur'an, right? Because if that's enough for you, then if you didn't do that, then there was something that you're supposed to do. Now, did you know though that the Prophet ﷺ, he said that we should read the end of Surah Al-Imran every morning? إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. Okay? He says from that point on, he told us to recite this every morning. The fact of the matter is, in the creation of the earth, the skies and the earth, there are signs for those people who have some core to themselves. Those who remember Allah, qiyaman wa qu'udan wa ala junubihim. Those who remember Allah and think about Allah when they're laying down on their sides, on their backs. وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And they think about and they ponder over the creation. Like, man, it's got to be. You didn't create this batilan. Subhanak. Glorified is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They think like this. Allah told us to recite this every morning when we get up. Why? Because this surah is about tathbeet, being firm in the face of this dunya that's zinatun for us. And in reciting that, it helps us see the message. Maybe we'll get the message. When we break down those last ayat in Al-Imran, you will understand what Allah is saying. From amongst the things He's telling you is just because you don't see your reward in this dunya, don't trip. Just because you see the kuffar doing things that we're not able to do, don't worry about it. مَتَاعٌ قَلِيلٌ ثُمَّ مَأْوَاهُمْ جَهَنَّمْ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ. They got a little bit for a little bit of time and then they go to the Jahannam. And what an evil place for them to wind up. And He also says that لَا يُضِيعُ اللَّهُ أَجْرًا مُحْسِنِينَ. But don't worry, everybody that's doing something, no, Allah sees you. And Allah is not going to let the activity, and even one thing that the person does for Allah, go to waste. It's being recorded, it's being acknowledged. And so this is what this surah is about, a tathabbut. And we'll go through it, insha'Allah ta'ala, tomorrow. Again, I'm not trying to drag you guys out. I wish I could go quicker. I'm trying to go as fast as I can to get you through the surahs, but it's not going to be meaningful if you don't understand the gist of the surah. And that's why I'm focusing on the gist of the surah. There's lots of different angles we could approach this. But to understand the core of the surah will help you when you read it. Now you have like when I was a teacher, well, I'm still a teacher. When I went to teaching school, they taught us that at the beginning of the lesson, you need two things. Number one, you have to gain attention. No gain attention, no class. You can give the best lesson in the world if you ain't got nobody's attention, right? So you got to gain attention at the beginning of the class. Allah does that. Alif, Lam, Mim. Everybody's paying attention there. You get my point? Then the next thing He wants you to know is the learning objective of today's lesson. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. That's the lesson. That there is no Allah. There is nothing and no God except Him. Al-hayyul qayyum. They're living the one that's giving life and establishing life for everyone else, giving you reason to love him, just as the same reason you love your mama, and even more so. That's their learning objective. And then when you have the learning objective, now you read, you look for that, right? You look for that to be confirmed throughout. And I tell you, that statement is mentioned more times in this surah than any other surah in the Qur'an. And also the word Islam is mentioned more times in this surah, that you have to stick to it more than anything else in the Qur'an. That the story is a 200 ayah story, 100 ayah plus on the Christians and dealing with Isa ibn Maryam. This is the message of this surah. Read it, think about it, inshallah. Tomorrow we'll break it down. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم. I went over 4 minutes. I'm sorry.